Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Max. This is the RHMax show channel. Episode number, I don't number episodes, but it's probably like 60 some, I think, if I were to guess. Just guessing, though. This should be a good show. We have AxisAlive, and he's feeling pretty alive right now. He's got some charts, murdering some TA right now, getting prepped for the mission. Jeez, take a sip from my HEX cup here. HEX tastes so good. Yes. Getting ready to spread some knowledge, go through some charts, talk about LP a little bit, talk about some macro trends. I think it'd be a good episode. It's always good to have Axis here. He's inspired me to go try and do some live episodes with some other Hexicans. We were just talking about that. It should be pretty fun. Maybe me and Brand will do an episode together. And local meetup if you're local to our area. Jerry Oak Smith is a local Hexican as well. Let us know. Come to a Telegram. Come to our local meetups. We have some fun ones planned. We got one planned for the end of the month, which is should be pretty good. Again, share the link. Tag us on Twitter. We're probably going to be rolling tonight. It's going to be nice. Sorry, Cabana. We may have to trade people back and forth, but this should be a good show. So without further ado, welcome to the stream, AxisAlive.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me.
It's quiet, man. It's quiet. It's like that calm before the storm. That kind of quiet.
That's usually how it goes. Cheers, everyone out there on a Friday night.
Yeah. Cheers. I got some nice lemon tea going on. Looks like you got some nice cerveza.
It's a dark beer. It's a Guinness.
It's a Guinness. Nice.
It's kind of not quite cold enough, but we got close.
Yeah, it looks pretty chilly where you're at. It looks like
it is. Inside. I got my stocking caps on and everything because it's starting to get cold at night here. So we're up in the mountains right now on a small HEX meetup.
Ooh,
private,
okay.
Super private and discreet HEX meetup. Just kidding.
Nice.
It's
secret
good
location. Turned off
secret
all your
locations. We're in the data. We're deep in the underground bunker where all the T-shares are printing daily.
Gotta love those T-shirts. They make the world go round. They do.
Yep.
I was gonna say that the best Guinness I had. Actually, I can't drink it in America for some reason. It just doesn't. I went to Dublin and I had one. And I was like, this is the best beer I've ever tasted in my life. So when I come back here, I'm just the same thing. I went to Japan, had sushi, had ramen. Come back here, can't have sushi or ramen. Just can't have it. It just does not.
It's just not authentic. Yeah.
It's just next level when it goes to there's some things you travel and you taste. You're like, oh, I'm glad they Americanized that when I had it last time. But there's some things that are like, whoa.
See, I haven't left the States, so for me, like that's a whole new world. You hear stories like that, and it's exciting. It's coming.
Yeah, man. Those two places are two of my favorite places. Yeah.
Where was it? Asia or Japan?
So Japan's great.
Have you ever had their Kobe steak over there?
Yeah. Actually had we did a whole deal where you get this like little tiny restaurant family owned thing, and they cook like the best in the world, and people are like knocking on the door to try to get in. They can't get in, but you got a reservation months in advance, but you got to speak Japanese. Yeah, did all that stuff. It's pretty cool. But telling you for beer, man, Dublin. You go to Dublin, you go to Ireland, you go generally abroad in the UK.
In Ireland in the short term, actually. That's kind of funny that you brought that up.
I recommend it. Dublin was great. Like it's like you want to drink the beer, not to get even the high from it. You just want to drink it because it tastes so good. It's like it's like if you like drinking coffee. It's like the high is good, but you just used to that good refreshing taste every morning. It's kind of like that both beer. It's nice. Let's go through the chat real quick. I'm going to clip you taking a drink. there's plenty of memeable events on the RHMax show. That's true. Please do. I have to drink with my left hand because the cup is the only cup I have that's not double sided. So I drink like this and it looks like what the hell. So I have to drink with the left hand, which is also awkward. But I was doing a podcast earlier with Hexicat John from Liquid Loans. And I figured that out. And I was like, the whole time I'm like, awkward. Okay, drink.
What up, Sloth? Yo, shout out to Crypto Sloth in the chat. Let's go.
Sloth is here. Sounds like Jack Lyon situation.
Well, man, since we got some people in the chat, let's how do you feel about pulling up some charts?
Let's do it, man.
Hedron price action. Yeah, let's look at some of that. How about that?
Hedron price action sounds good to me.
All right, I got some here. I'll pull up this here. let me know when you have my screen share up because I can't see it right now.
Yeah, we're up.
All right, cool. So this is the Hedron chart. There's a lot going on here. This is the 4 hour. But just like cool things to note here in the DMI, which is basically this instrument's trying to measure the momentum and the trend at the same time. So the white line is the momentum and the green line is a positive bid trend, and the red line is like the seller's trend. So as the white line increases in strength, you want to see the red decrease and the green increase. And that would be like the most bullish situation where the white line is overall trend strength increasing on a green increasing line while red's decreasing. That would be the most bullish. So anyway, the green line is above the red line right now on the 4 hour. And that's good because we're actually bouncing off some key moving averages. Let's see if I can pull some of the moving averages up here.
Okay.
Moving average triple. And then like I like to use some of the base numbers for this is like base your inputs on the time frame you're using. So like if I'm using like a daily, like a month is like roughly 30 days. So I'm like I might put like for my second I might use like 28 days because that's like a lunar month or whatever. So I might use that as like one of my moving averages. That's based on like something closer to like a harmonic timing frequency. I know that we've talked about that before in my past work, but anyway, some common ones like the daily, if you get bounces off the 21 moving average on the daily, that's like the best thing you can be looking for. And we have clear bounce off both the 21 and the 14 right here. So that's as like most of a bullish sign as you can have. I got to use a different mouse because that mouse is trash. I'm sorry for that, guys. Bear with me here.
Unprofessional.
I'm on my laptop. But this November 13th date is where that HSI auction starts for like a lot of the majority of the new T-shares coming on the auction. And so like I feel like this is like the last bit of run up leading up to some explosive climax going into that date. And the thing that I have to prove it is when you look at HEX back in 2021 in the summer when it was around, here we peaked at like, we made a triangle and we peaked at like 6 cents roughly, but we traded more around 5.5 to 6 cents. And then it was a triangle that broke up. And then now it did another of the same where it did like this double top that led into a sell off that then built a triangle and then led to this massive upside move on price during the Pulse Sacrifice launch, which was your fundamental driver for price action. And then we call this consolidation under resistance when this happens in the price. And so what I'm looking for here on Hedron is a similar move of this triangle pattern forming under the all-time high resistance and then some sort of an explosive move coming off into the auctions where Hedron gets burnt and becomes much more extremely more rare. And it's all because the values in the HEX stakes. Here's the Hedron chart against HEX. Same principle, but it's way above. This is the chart that I'm watching that's telling me, is Hedron making new all-time highs in a legitimate sort of way? So like this is where it's coming in from.
Okay. Yeah, it keeps going up. Do you think? We'll see. October 21st today. I mean, what do you think? November 1st, second week of November. What do you think it's headed?
I mean, I feel like we had enough chances to break down, and it's like against HEX. It's just doing the same. It's just doing the same sell-off pattern into key supports where these institutional candles have created space on the chart and they're being protected. And that's just fundamental, strong technical analysis. And then it's doing a smaller fractal of that same play. Going into that, it just seems to me like the bids are there. The DMI is saying, the strength of trend is strong on a lot of the upper time frames. So, I mean, here the red's never even crossed the green since August on the daily DMI. I mean, that's like going out back to the beginning of August. So, and that's with all the intense selling that we've received. So fundamentally, I just think that this is a good buy all the way around. And I think like the people that are selling these bags now are like losing out on generational wealth potentially, because this is a repricing of T-shares. That's what this event is all about. And the fundamental.
Yeah, I don't know what could be bad news for it. Like I don't see. Do you see anything that could?
No, I mean, staking made it that much more, like give you a reason to hold it. You know what I mean?
Right. Staking.
It's just another thing, like, and then getting the ICOSA and like all those different levers that is working in the background is just building value in the ecosystem. And I would even extend that to this chart with the Pulse Dogecoin. Like this Pulse Dogecoin has such a limited supply, and now 1 million of the 6 million coin supply has been burnt. And it just seems to me like there's not enough supply out there to be. I mean, the liquidity pool's doubled basically, and that's recent. You know, like that's bullish. I mean, it's hard to deny that this coin is bullish in some of the most bearish times. And I mean, like upsides on this coin can be multiple of 10. You know.
And is that the TA, they had Pulse Bitcoin mining, the ASIC stuff came out too. How does that factor in?
Yeah, I mean, like that stuff factors in because it's just pumpamentals for this coin, right? Because it makes this coin more rare.
They're burning a ton. They burnt like 30-40% of the Pulse Doge supply or something like that.
I know for a fact that 1 million of them have been burnt for sure, if not more by now. And that's just amazing to me. So like this chart is making floors that will never that'll never come back. And that's what I look for in an asset when I'm buying something, is like, what's an asset that even if it comes down 50, 60, 70%, what's going to be here still accruing value for me in like 2 to 5 years? And if
go
ahead.
I was just going to on the burning point too, because we had conversations around what effect burning has on coins. You know, this one has such a low supply. You know, it's only like a few million coins or so.
Right. So it seems like it'll magnify the effect of burning. And the effect of burning is that it makes the price go up because less become available on the market. And now that you've added an added utility that this now provides yield as well, right?
David James, 33% burned. Yeah, that was incredible when I saw the numbers today. Whoa. Because a lot of people are trading it in for the ASIC token that they can stake, and then that mines Pulse Bitcoin. I think that's how it works.
And then look at the Pulse Dogecoin against HEX valuation. Like, look at this thing; it's at the all-time high. It just tapped it today. Isn't that amazing? Like in a bear market, when we value HEX so highly, and it's a super valuable coin that provides that amazing yield. You know, that's what underlies this whole system. And then you have like a coin like this that's holding value against it. And so I just, you know, I look at that type of stuff and I'm like, you know, do I want to allocate toward it? And, you know, if I'm going to allocate, can I definitively say, is this like something that's going to continue to go up in valuation against HEX? Or is it something that won't? And like burning is a huge factor that plays into how a coin can become more quickly valuable in those terms.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, like Pulse Dogecoin, good buy. We were actually calling the breakout down here in the private Discord. It was like on the 7th or 8th. And then it ran, I don't know what's it ran so far, 84%. So it's been a great trade for those who've stayed with it. HEX overall is stuck in this liquidity band. And so we'll get a little bit into liquidity now. So basically I drew this yellow box to try to represent like where the majority of the liquidity is sitting right now. So if I go in here into the liquidity on HEX and to the USDC pair, you can see here this basically where my yellow box is inside of this tight range. So like when you're deciding, like if you're looking to provide liquidity on HEX, or if you're trying to look where to provide liquidity in general, you want to provide liquidity on 2 coins that you find value in long term. So like you could say like USDC would be one good option, right? Because it's a long term consistent value of storage. And then you might want to pair it with like a crypto that's going to be here for a long time, and like, so that'd be like Ethereum, HEX, or something along the lines of a derivative of something like that.
Are there any can't lose pairs? I mean, we got HEX USDC. You could do HEX Hedron.
There's exciting things like ICOSA. Like if you look at the HEX ICOSA pair, it trades in such a tight range that it's something that you can kind of set it and forget it, and then just be left with some USDC at the end. And then when the price leaves you behind, it doesn't really leave you behind in a way that you suffer so much impermanent loss that you can't continue to accrue fees in the newly produced range. So if I bring that up for you, 1 second. This laptop's slow.
I guess it's the trick too. Like always, to avoid impermanent loss, you want to provide liquidity to pairs that, regardless of what they do, you always want. Like, is it good to like HEX and like a stable-ish against HEX because you always want the other side? Is that what are the tricks there when you get into it?
Yeah, that's kind of what like my theory would be, was like trade. I mean, there's a couple ways you can decide how you want to trade. Do you want to trade majority? Like, and this decision should be made fundamentally on what type of market are we in, I think. So like if I'm in a bear market, I'm not afraid to put HEX up against USDC, because if it goes up, you can make money on the swing high, and by selling HEX higher, or if it goes down, you're basically selling it at a level where you're comfortable getting rid of it for USDC. So yeah, I mean, bear market, it's good to pair with a stable coin.
Is that because we talked about this last time too, of a way to like sell coins without hurting the price by doing LP, but there's also the other side of buying coins. Like it's like you could use LP to be always buying because you're getting the other side of you're getting those coins back for that particular pair. So I guess can you how does that work, or how could you silently buy coins in that way?
In that way, you can basically set. So if you wanted to provide, if you had some USDC and you wanted to provide liquidity on HEX, and you wanted to buy, let's say you wanted to buy HEX at a penny, you could be like this guy here who put this huge spike of liquidity in here. Let's see, how much is it? Somebody put $50,000 of liquidity here at 1.5 cents, so that if the price shoots down here, he's going to be left with HEX instead of USDC, because USDC will be swapped at that point. If the price continues to move slightly lower, then the bulk of his liquidity would get absorbed, and he would be left with the other side of the token.
Some of these tricks are just a very interesting way. Like you can buy and sell coins using liquidity other than market trades and stuff, or even limit trades.
Yeah, because limit orders on blockchains don't always get hit. But if you provide like $5,000 of liquidity, like in little chunks, like down here where there's like $4,000, $4,000, $4,000, $4,000, then as the price slips, like you're gonna get filled at every level. They're fractionally smaller levels. Like we're talking like 1,000th of a dollar movements, but you're getting cheaper and cheaper prices for each tag each time your liquidity is getting tagged. So if price drops too far, then is when you suffer impermanent loss on things. Because let's say you set, okay.
No, I'm just going to ask, if the price drops too far, is that the part where you'd want to be on the other side? Like you don't, however far the price drops, you're okay taking that other coin. Like
pretty much. Like you have to be comfortable with your long-term thesis enough not to take, like if you were willing to put some money here on like at 2 cents, like right here, and this liquidity, and then the price went to 1, well, you're down 50% on the coins that you got at 2 cents, but that price that went to 1 penny might only be down there for a short amount of time, and then you might be back in profit, or you might be ranging down there for a while because next year might not be pretty. I tend to think it won't be that way, and we could do some macro analysis if you wanted to kind of explain that.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you have a question?
I was just gonna say maybe it's a quick one too. Like, are there any pairs you would that you would like always stay away from as far as providing liquidity for? They're just like super risky. Like you would never want the other side or things like that.
I mean, it's hard to like people that are providing liquidity on any new coin. Like here's an example like of
New coins.
New coins are probably like ones that you're taking a risk, right?
Yeah.
Even just with this weight token, it's got $6,000 liquidity in it. But like if you put, let's say you wanted to put 3,000 liquidity in here, like what's stopping somebody who free claimed from just taking that liquidity out of the pool? And then you're left with weight coin that's down 50%. And you can see it's right now trading under levels that it previously closed on above multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and like 9 times it bounced off that level. Now it's starting to trade below it and close below it. So,
but in order to take all that 6K away, that's assuming they had the 6K like at a price you'd like, right?
Right. Yep. 100%. Yep.
They could have put the risk 6K, like part of the 6K at like 10 cents or something. They'd be like, okay, it's never. I'm just going to be buying it really, really high if I try to take all of it away.
Correct. I'm saying if like you were going to put in, let's say you were going to put in liquidity to trade inside of my yellow bands here, because that's where like the majority of the price traded. It traded here for like 100 days. It's traded inside of that band, roughly with just a few spikes above. But now that it's trading below, would you want to be the guy putting liquidity, like some liquidity in above this level now? I wouldn't. I would rather put liquidity in slightly below as it traded in the range below. But that's all gets into the strategy of how you see the liquidity on the liquidity charts on Uniswap, so that you're playing a game of football here. Like if the red line is a line of scrimmage or the ball, you have to kind of try to predict, based on what's happening in the global markets, is there enough pressure and forced selling to make people want to take the slippage and push the price this way? Or is there enough demand to push a price through this thick liquidity wall and get us moving, to higher prices at an increased rate? Because I've seen us on Hedron get above and then crash back into these walls before, just in recent history. But then smart whales used it properly as support, and they kept accumulating at those levels. What's up for HEX? Hey, I got some homies here. Do you guys want to bring some homies on from the HEX community?
Yeah. What's up, HEX? How's it going?
Yeah, what's up? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I haven't seen you since Vegas. We shook hands a couple times, but never got to chat too much though. Sorry about that.
Who are you talking to? Oh, RH. What up, man?
Hold on, I'm gonna flip my screen.
You don't remember me.
You aren't in the green room.
I didn't know I couldn't recognize your voice, man. But now I know.
Yeah, I got a new mic. That's true.
Oh, cool.
Oh shit. Anyways, yeah, I'm here with some homies. Good to see you, man.
What's up, man?
What's up?
I'll let you do your thing, man.
Yeah. Cheers.
You gonna bring out Brett Favre here in a minute?
Yeah. What'd you say?
Is Aaron Rodgers back there too?
Aaron Rodgers? No, we didn't bring him this time. He wasn't allowed. He didn't have a big enough HEX bag.
Yeah, he got the Doge. We just let him go. Just no. I got a question from Toby on here. Always curious how fields are prioritized. Like if someone has liquidity in a particular price earlier than you, does the date you provided matter versus other the same price?
I'm sorry, dude. Let me see here. Let's see. Toby won in a particular price earlier than you. Does that date? Oh, honestly, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if if somebody puts in liquidity before you, if that's what makes. I think it's just. Would the blockchain prioritize it that way or not? I'm not sure, dude. I'm not sure. But usually the way that stuff works is like, for example, if we got slippage down into here, into these ranges, these are only $4,000 chunks, and people are going to market sell 50 grand or 100 grand or 300 grand at a time. Your shit's getting hit down here because there's just not like that much going on down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus like up in here where, yeah, maybe your liquidity doesn't always get hit up in here. I'm not sure. So I haven't personally experienced that, but it's a possibility. I'll look into that. It's something important.
Yeah.
Here's our Hedron liquidity pool. It just keeps growing. Like we were on a nice 45 here for months of time now. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons to think positively about the price of that coin.
Well, Jennifer's curious, is Hedron a good investment?
You know, as we speak, it's testing all-time highs. This coin excites me, and so I feel bad for them kind of, but they're also the ones printing a crap ton of it, so they'll be okay. A lot of those 10x minting bonuses are starting to dry up as well, so that's something good to keep in mind, like fundamental wise. So yeah, HEX is traded in the lower band of this liquidity zone for, it's been like 120 days, I want to say. It's just been a really long time. And when price starts to compress like this over longer time frames, that's when you start to see big moves to the upside on HEX. So like as soon as you fade HEX and say it's going like extremely lower, it's going to be done. You see how small and compressed these candles are down here compared to like what we experienced all last year.
Yeah.
Hold on, I lost you. Are you muted?
No, I'm still here. Yeah, I think you broke up for a second.
I'm so lost right now. I've been muted this whole time.
No, we can hear you. No, we can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Try saying something, man.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you before too.
I think he was broke or something.
Oh, weird.
I'm gonna try to dip out and maybe come back in once. This is screwed up.
Okay. Well, we shall wait for Axis to return. Trying to get to your questions, but he's jumping around a bit, so it's hard to get him in at the appropriate context. But I'll keep trying to get him in. A lot of good information. Wow. And we just got started. We've just been here a few minutes. So again, share the stream on Twitter, right? Tag us, tag me and Axis. Tell people to come here. Yeah, should be a good show. Keep your questions coming. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get them in best I can. But like I said, we're jumping around a lot. Maybe it'll come down in a bit and it'll be easier to get them in. But yeah, welcome back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what the heck happened. I couldn't hear you anymore.
No, we could hear you fine. Yeah, everything's good the whole time.
Good.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so that's good though, because you got all that juicy LP info. That was important stuff.
Yeah. I had a question too on Hedron while you had it up. Before I missed it here. Hey guys, any chance Hedron could get to 1 cent?
1
in 2
cent?
years? Yeah.
I don't think you can't say never, but no, I mean, that's not really even an interesting thought to me. Like you got to think about how much is out there. You're talking about a crazy amount of at a penny.
Is that like a 10,000x for PulseChain type of thing?
I don't know, what is the low? Because it's already up 30x. I'm not sure. It'd be plenty though. I think it might be over 10,000x to a penny, because it went below that 7 zeros and a 1. It went below that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let's pull up Hedron. Let's see how low it went. I don't think a penny's even like. I mean, I'm not going to say it can't ever happen, but I think you'd be looking at like 8 years from now for that to happen. Then again, you have the burn mechanism of Hedron that I'm not even really factoring in. Maybe that cuts the time in half if there's like huge adoption and lots of 555 stakes happening.
Maybe that'd be good to like. What is the case for like what would need to happen for Hedron to have so
mass
much
adoption, right? And like huge like price appreciation on all of the coins, HEX, Hedron, and Icosa.
So I never hit 7 zeros. No.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't. Let's see here. It went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 153. It says here on the low. So 6 and a 153.
So what are we up now to? So we're at 0.4 somewhere.
We're up 2,700%, but the high was it said in here 4,000% off the low, roughly. So I mean, at his level, I mean, I can't even get up there. Like you're already at 1,000,000%. 1,000,000% would be 003, I think it was, or 00. It's getting up. I'm gonna have to rescale out here. Let's go from, I'm going to turn on my magnet. I'm going to get my ruler out.
Making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, 1,000,000% is not even to, yeah, it's like 0.0015, 3, obviously. So you're not even halfway through the pump if you get your full 1,000,000% move. Right. So, and HEX did that. So the question is, will it repeat what HEX did? It should, based on the fact that HEX will be way over 10,000x when Hedron does its 10,000x. That's basically my theory on it. But you're looking like multiple cycles out for those kinds of targets, I think.
Yeah. That question came up. Did people that bought HEX on other chains and didn't sell still in profit? Price? Yeah. Are you doing any charting on the other chains? Have you done any of that?
I have. It's not a lot to look at right now on it. Let's see. HEX. What do you want to look at? The one on Ethereum Fair or the one on Ethereum W?
Probably W, I guess. Is that the one that got the most volume, liquidity?
I think this is it. It's got $21,000 of liquidity. Does that sound right?
I haven't kept up with it lately, but probably.
As soon as I see the chart, I'll know. Let's see here. Shoot, that's a rough looking chart. Yeah, and so I guess this stuff launched, and I never really had my opinion is that HEX is an idea. That's my opinion. So like if the users want to make value on another chain, then they will, because there is yield there. The question is, will they? It has to be tied to a valuable underlying asset. So like what makes HEX have value on Ethereum is because it has Ethereum, and that's where all the money is in the ecosystem.
Was there? I guess when was the best time to buy HEX on ETHW? And
wasn't it just right in the beginning?
Right in the beginning, yeah. Before, okay. And then what? How much was what was it from the low to the high? Can you measure that?
I don't even know if this is the right chart, but if this might be the Ethereum Fair chart, this might not be POW. It did a 19,000%, but on low liquidity, so like only a handful of people got to pull.
Right.
Yeah, down 93%. So it's in a similar situation. Let's see if we can find HEX on ETH POW. This one was more interesting to me anyway. 9K of liquidity. Oh, this is the Ethereum Fair chart. Whoops. I just want to measure the move on this. Wow, that one got wrecked. Yeah, I don't know, man. They're in the early phases, so like that someone's got to bootstrap those communities and get them going. I'm behind the product overall. I mean, I'm not over there dumping my coins, so if it starts to accrue value over time, then that's awesome. There might be an opportunity there, but you got to really rely on the success of the underlying native asset. I'm really right now I'm excited by Hedron and the PulseX charts. Those are good looking charts, and obviously HEX is compressed down into this tiny little level that we haven't traded like this for quite a while. So if I go to the main chart and try to go to like a longer time frame, like let's say a daily chart again, yeah, we just haven't had these nice little tiny compressed candles since before we ran up last year in August.
Yeah, can you explain why are the compressed candles a good thing?
Yeah, so they're a good thing because it means that the price is more under control, and the balance between the bulls and the bears is more in alignment. It's in more of an equilibrium. So bulls can push. It basically is like a neutral trading environment. So if neutral means that a bottoming is happening. So if you see back here where this looks all these tiny compressed candles back here, we haven't traded outside of a 10% range for a long time. It's been over a month. That's not normal for HEX. And what I mean by that is it's only normal for HEX for short periods of time, like here, where I did it for like 20 to 30 days before it started its mega move up to 50 cents, right? And like if you zoom in here and go back to what these looked like back then, this is what you can expect to see current times once this thing finally starts to take off. It's like we might be trading like this right now in these tiny compressed candles, and then over the coming months we'll have they'll start to get bigger, and then you'll start to see them a move to basically push price high enough to make some people whole to sell off their position to bet the backed up interest that needs to be sold in the system, and then eventually that runs out, and then you finally can start to make higher levels, and it happens quickly. Just because that's how like the inflation works. Like all the big stakes have come off this year that were 2-year, 3-year stakes from the beginning times, and so now that all that inflation's been pushed through the system on this sell-off, and now we're seeing a more balanced and stable trading range, we can start to expect to see a bottoming and potentially a trend reversal.
Nice. There's a question here from UFO to go. What's the Hedron liquidity looking like now and forecast?
Hedron liquidity looks like pretty good. Like we're trending up, and we're near highs in recent time anyway, for sure. So the liquidity looks good as far as like the amount of dollars locked in the liquidity pool. And then as far as like in the actual, let's look at what the trading ranges look like on it, where all the liquidity is sitting. This is new for me too, so you're actually learning it live with me. So yeah, we have a huge support wall behind us. And then we have just a couple more bars where it can be accumulated before, demand is just going to push you outside of the liquidity zone, and the price will start to slip higher, essentially. Alternatively, the bearish look would be like you'd get to the end of this wall, and some giga whale would dump all their tokens and cause mass chaos and start causing all other the giga whales to also dump their tokens through all this liquidity back to here. But we've seen some pretty large sells on the chart already in the last few days, and they're basically being absorbed and then followed through with upside price action. So there's just not a lot of people willing to sell under these circumstances on a coin that's doing so well, price appreciation wise. So then the tendency is to think that the strategy is actually that this is being priced forward, and that this is a huge liquidity is just an accumulation bid wall, like where people are happy to buy tons of it here, and then the people are willing to make some fees while people accumulate in this zone, and then price starts to move outside of here quicker and quicker over days of time, and then this all will get reset again out here in the future at higher prices. This will make a new wall, and we'll trade in a range much higher after this expansion. And you don't have a lot of you don't have a lot of liquidity to the downside. So if there was some macro event, if HEX crashed to 1 cent, Hedron would be hurt by it, I think. Maybe not as hard because it's so strong and held up so well. And you can see that on this Hedron versus HEX chart, where it's near all-time highs against it. And the other coin that's also doing that, I said earlier, was Pulse Doge is the other one that's just like tapping its all-time highs. So they're kind of competing for HEX valuation right now in a new economy built on those.
Yeah, Rob had a question on the Pulse Doge too. Does it have a future with the new Pulse Bitcoin ASIC farm, burn Pulse Doge, all that stuff?
Anything with a diehard cult following is going to have some sort of a future, and when you add a very limited supply to that, with a few diamond-handed guys that want to become billionaires, I mean, that's definitely a good narrative, and it will grow. It's proving itself in so many ways already, and then with the added fact that they burn 33%. Just seems like a really good narrative to buy into, and you have the on-chain metrics because it's only traded on-chain to back all that up. So there's a lot of factors that goes into that. Forget about the fact that it's just a meme coin or whatever, because all of a sudden now it's not just a meme coin; it's just got a meme name coin cloaked with utility. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Meme ecosystem. I think it is interesting how they're doing the Bitcoin, like they're doing the halvening and all this stuff. I'm like, that is very elaborate. Wow.
Yeah, good for them. Like I said, I mean, maybe I haven't said it enough, but like my interest is in HEX mainly. And it's, I have bags of HEX, but it does all the work for me so that I can go live my life and do that stuff. And I don't have to track everything. I mean, I do the tracking because I'm fascinated by markets and I love watching macro and I love watching crypto. I love making the quick money that's exciting and like it gives us all a chance at a better life so much quicker,
That
and
is the point of
able to
HEX,
follow your
a better
dreams.
life.
I mean, HEX and crypto in general, like it's opportunity central. Like just take the one you like and run with it. There's a lot of them out there that are doing good things. You just have to follow the principles in a lot of ways. But just
Speaking of
have good
runs,
tokenomics, though.
yeah, tokenomics for sure. Speaking of runs, when do you think the next bull run? That's Richard.
I don't know, man. Bull run. Maybe 2025 would be a good year to say that you'd already be well above 40,000 Bitcoin. Thusly, you'd see better valuations in the overall market. Yeah, I mean, 2025 is looking pretty good right now. And this is the US dollar breaking down. This is huge. If this thing splits this triangle down to the downside, that's the end of a huge uptrend in strength. This huge parabola on the dollar that would signal, strength for Bitcoin and Ethereum, which would signal strength for HEX, because it's just like a dominoes effect. Bitcoin and like these other small moves that have been happening. Like again, you're getting compressed candles on Bitcoin too. So, juicy time to be in crypto.
So if it breaks down, if the dollar gets weaker, is that a signal for like inflation going back? Like, can you just go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, if so, one of the driving factors if the dollar were to come down in value would be that you'd see a reversal in the bonds and you'd see potentially money printing. So here's the money stock of it. So this is the economy right now. The new dollars flowing into the system, and it's basically been just there's been no new money coming in. We're flatlined. So all of the value being produced in the economy right now, based on this data, is being derived from goods and services being created in the economy and not just money printing out of thin air. But, since 2020, the supply is up, still 40%. So where'd all the money go? It doesn't feel like a Great Depression. It doesn't feel like a recession because a lot of us did really well during this money printing era. So the question is how long? Sideways, That's the question. Here's something that defines that is mortgage rates. People need to live. They need to live in a house. So they go and they take on debt to do that. Well, debt just got exponentially more expensive in the quickest amount of time in history. It's 160% more on your bills, on your payments, on your debt now than it was, 2 years ago. And so that's going to make it so that people have less money to invest in things in a pre-COVID world. But because of all this money printing, ironically enough, people are not hurting that bad yet, even though the new supply of dollars has been flatlined. But who gets hurt the most during this time frame is other foreign countries. They're the ones that gets hurt, and that's why the dollar has been screaming so high and building strength against all the other currencies. So these relationships are what are driving forces in the economy. Another thing that drives the economy is like energy costs. So when you're looking at like this is crude oil, this is like basically in all your products and in your gas tank at the same time. And those valuations have come down now. So, for oil to come down 40%, basically now it's at like 35 maybe percent down. That should have brought gas prices down across the country, which should have relieved pressure on daily spending for Americans consumers, and then that would give them more firepower to put back in on something like the S&P, where you're starting to see a bounce off this generational support area. When I zoom out here, this is an index of the S&P, the Russell 2000, the Dow Jones, and the NASDAQ. And so this is compiling all the big stock indexes of the U.S. stock, in agencies, and it's basically bouncing off these old levels from 2020, which was like when we survived the COVID dip. And so like if this support holds then and breaks above this yellow downtrend, it's off to the races, and then the bull market's going. The bull market could be in, next summer you could be in a bull market and some of this stuff. But because I like to talk more conservatively, I would more comfortably like to say 2025 due to like any kind of unforeseen consequences that might come from the Fed not switching their monetary policy. And then you get a huge spill.
So what would you need to see to kind of signal the bottom of the bear to make you confident in that? And then maybe we go sideways. But yeah, what do you look for that?
I mean, so it depends on the asset. Like I basically use Bitcoin as like the first look, the major mover of where to look when I want to try to figure out a bottom for crypto. Like if we're talking, so each market's different, right? But for Bitcoin, like I like to look at, I like to assume that it can come down, right? So like a 50% down move at any time. So what am I looking for bottoming? It's more about sentiment. So like when people really hate it and don't want to talk about it and think it's going to zero, which I'm not hearing any of that yet. And so it makes me start to think that maybe like the bottom's not in. But then like on technical indicators, you can go to look at things like this. This is where like I would say that the bottom is in. Like if you go to look into Bitcoin, pi cycle top indicator, it's basically a measurement of some moving averages that have proved this to be true. This over the lifespan of Bitcoin, that when the price crosses the orange line, that marks the bottom. So if I zoom in here, it happened in the past multiple times when the price crossed the orange line, it marked the bottom. But in modern times, let's see where we're at here. It's close. So we're close. We're hovering right below it. And when that crosses, that's supposed to mark the bottom. And it has every other time in history for Bitcoin. So that, I mean, that's one thing to look for is like different indicators that have been historically true. Moving averages are a great one.
To say, what do you think about the, Michael says Fed rates equal the economy since 2008? How do you think, do you think, things have changed since 2008 as far as maybe at least the S&P or what do you think about that?
Yeah, the way that the real estate market is now is like there's not as much leverage in the system, so it can't be quite the same domino effect of like the large spill that happened last time because the credit isn't being leveraged so hard, in lending for real estate and whatnot. So because there's checks and balances put in by banks to make sure that can't happen. And then all of the liabilities and all of the problems falls on the central banks and not on the commercial banks, which means that then those central authorities can like basically fix the books to make it fix a problem a lot easier than have huge calamities in the larger economy. So that's all been kind of solved. So I don't really see that because they're doing magic on their accounting books on the government side and on the large central bank side that like it's just the amount is so astronomical and they're just swapping between, they're called like swap lines or whatever. It's just not like the way that regular civilians interact with the money system at all. And so like they can actually circumvent a lot of the problems by just centrally overriding things or like changing different levers. And then you factor the Federal Reserve in there, and they can change tax rates to affect the economy. And they can change, lending rates, like that's what they've been doing, and increasing it. So there's all these different layers and things that you need to look at.
Just a boomerang real quick too over to ETH again. Axis, do you have a preferred DEX to swap on ETH?
I use Matcha for everything. I don't know if you can swap on there. I've never swapped on the other chains. I hold coins over there is all. So I can't really answer that.
Gotcha. Michael, who bails out the Fed?
Who bails out the Fed? The Fed bails out. I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird relationship between the U.S. Treasury and the Fed. They bail each other out every day.
They just meet, have beers, and like, hey, what are we gonna do today? I don't know. What you want to do today?
Let's I'll send you some of these notes. You send me some of those notes, and we'll trade notes.
I'll drop my truck off around 8 o'clock. Sound okay? Just scrolling through for questions too. Did you have another chart you want to go to while I'm looking at chat?
Yeah. Just for like downside risk on Bitcoin was like the 12,000 level. It could come anytime in the next 6 months on any kind of event between now and when we get above this downtrend resistance. So just something to be aware of, but it won't last forever. So don't be freaked out by it. We've already been through the worst of the sell-off on a lot of this stuff from my perspective.
Floss says, I like me a good bottom, and he cannot lie.
I just feel like
Floss can't deny.
I mean, there's just so much going good on.
Bottom walks in with the itty bitty trend line and a round uptrend. Then you're waste. I don't know.
Nice.
RHMax freestyling right now.
You get Freddie Quotes up here to be practicing his freestyles.
I know. Yeah, me and Freddie, maybe we'll do a collab one day.
Yeah, I should have brought a mic so we could all have been around.
I mean, I just throwing it out there, but you may see a animated music video with a song behind it at some point on the RHMax channel. You never know. Our expansion.
Hey,
may do a little bit of music. We'll see.
Hey, rumors are saying.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So you're picking up what I'm putting down.
I'm picking up.
I am.
Totally picking up.
I get what he's saying. He's a euphemism. Clip it. Let me get a good run at it first. I didn't know when I was kind of just going off the top of my head on that, but yeah, I could rhyme to your song. That's true. Huxel says Uniswap. Oh, is there a Uniswap on Hedron? Apparently, interesting.
Uniswap on one of the forks. You mean?
It looks like there's a DEX for ETHW hosted at Hedron.pro.
Oh, really? That's sick. Nice.
Yeah,
he just must have embedded the front end code so you could port it in or something. That's cool.
One more from Michael real quick. Here's my prediction. Fed raises 0.75. Oh, if they do.
Recession one last time. They were talking today a little weak, so I don't know if they will one more time.
Please do 0.25. Give us some relief. 0.25. That's what I'm hoping for. But I mean, you totally could be 0.75.
Could be. I don't know. They won't be. I think they're done in the next year, though. I think they're done raising rates. Obviously, that was huge. They just needed to. They're basically countering all that money that came in.
Well, it's November basically too, right? So it's we have a better chance at 0.25 than we would ever have any other point of the year, I think.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin 12.5. Whew. Those are the days, It kind of makes me nostalgic in a way, and the other time I'm like, total collapse.
I mean, Bitcoin's only attracted to buy at 12.5. Like I don't want to buy it at 20. I don't want to buy it at anything over 12.5. You know what I mean? Like I bought Bitcoin at 3, at 6. Like I'm not. It's not interesting to me. The gains aren't there. And I think a lot of crypto people have felt that way for years, and I think a lot of the old Bitcoiners are late to the party.
Well, do you think people think about HEX like that too? Do you think people think about HEX like that? Like, oh, I'm not going to buy HEX until a penny. You think that's another reason there's not a lot of buy pressure? Yeah,
but the difference is that HEX can do 100x or 1,000x, and Bitcoin can do maybe a 10x. Over a decade. Right. So.
But if it went down to a penny, maybe people are like, oh, I would like to get that 50 or 100x rather at 3 cents. Oh, I'll get that 20x. But it's like they've already know about
30% or 50% more cash on the next buy. It's the same equation both ways. As long as the price doesn't leave you behind, if you're buying at a similar price, it's the same equation, but in reverse. You just got to bring in more fiat for the return that you're looking for. So I'm looking for the instrument that wants to move, and this is this market cap dominance chart on HEX is amazing. Like, look at this thing; it's like picture perfect. Even if it did break down one more time, these are 171 days exact. Both of these ranges. Shit. Well, we did. Well, let's see here. Didn't we do something just like that just now? I'm pretty sure we did. So it was even a more compressed range. Wasn't 170%. It was like 100%. But we're sitting out here at 150 days roughly. So yeah, I mean, we got 20 more days of this, and bottoms in, boys and girls. Bottoms in. Right? We're right in time for November. Hadron will moon, HEX will moon, Bitcoin will get above 25K for a couple days.
Mission
Ether will go
accomplished.
to 2,500. Everyone will get to sell the Christmas rally, and we'll all be happy. We can go home.
We'll go home. Nobody has a job anymore. Everyone's got to sell their house.
Mhm.
But we'll be happy for Christmas. It'll be a great Christmas miracle.
100%.
Yeah. Got
What do you
another
think?
question here. Thoughts on CME gap at 96.50. It's been my bottom call for years.
That's all for. I mean, dude, if it's gonna go to 12K, there's nothing saying it can't go to XK lower. You know what I mean? Like it can go to any level lower as long as there's fear on the market. That's just how markets are, but it will get bought right back up though. So you might get your 9,600, but it's going to get bought right back up. So I'm talking like hours, 1 to 2 days at most when you trade down in those levels. I know a lot of people have been calling 8K, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think the gap's
8K pray.
Yeah. Or 11K in a pray and then a wick to 8K. That's what I think could happen.
I'd be afraid if it goes down to like
Total,
8K.
that's total conjecture. I have no idea.
I may not have any furniture left in my house at 8K.
I'm not really that bearish, man. Like I've been more on the side that we've bottomed for months now, like on Bitcoin, ETH, and HEX, that we're very close to a bottom, and that the downside risk is like 50% versus upsides of hundreds of times on the stuff I care about. So it's just been chill, man. Like I love Hedron. It's amazing. I love that coin so much. I love HEX and Hedron. They're like brothers, and they just like ride and die together. The guys that were convinced that HEX was the answer got rewarded heavily with huge multipliers on Hedron.
Still less than 10 million across all pools. We have 6 million. Is that what it was? 8 million.
Liquidity for HEX or
I think HEX is what he's talking about. Somebody
saw-
said 6 million liquidity. So.
Yeah, there's like 6 to 7 million on the USDC 0.3% pair. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. If you want to touch on that, or I got another thing I want to bring up too whenever.
Yeah, I'm seeing like 7 million in here on the USDC pair. And then like another. Where can I pull up the main? Okay, I think I got it.
Why is that? Like, why is that good, bad? Like, what? How should people feel about the liquidity?
Well, okay. Well, as soon as this loads, like if the liquidity is up, so the overall liquidity locked in the contract is higher than it was in August of last year at 10 cents. So we have, the price is down to 3 cents, but there's more HEX and USDC in the pool and other coins as well, Hedron and some others, PLSD, in those pools, that the dollar value of that is more than it was before when we were at 10 to 15 cents last year during that huge spike. So what that tells me is that the network is growing and that there's more participants actively participating in liquidity providing and owning the asset. So those are just like bullish fundamentals that we're seeing. I don't know why this is not loading at all. Oh, here we go. It's saying here there's 12 million TVL, but the thing is, like, a lot of the majority of the trading volume is only in the $7 million pair. Like $1 million was traded HEX ETH. So 1/8 of the trading volume is sitting in HEX ETH. The other 7/8 is being traded on HEX USDC. So I don't know if that tells you anything. But this
people always have this question about liquidity, and I'm always like, there's a difference between 20K in liquidity and then 6 million in liquidity and then 50 million, and it's like how do you, like, based on those, like, do you have all the information you need to make a decision whether it's good or bad just based on the number, or do you need to know more context about it to really rationalize about it?
Depends on when you say is liquidity good or bad. That's like saying is this Swiss Army knife good for boiling a fish on Fridays? It's like, no, I don't know if it's good for that. It could be good for that. You know, it's like, what strategy and what's the fucking trend on the price? Like, so if the price has been stuck flat, but yet you're adding dollars to the pool, you see on this chart here I'm going through with you, like there's more dollar value in the pool now than there was last year in August when we were at like 10, 15 cents. That's what I'm saying. Even though we ran up after that and had tons of liquidity in the pool and then crashed back down, we're higher than we were at the low on both occasions. And so with that, plus price stopping in its tracks and starting to show signs of bottoming, I would say it's good.
Let's see. Richard says, could we see another dip in Hedron before November 13th?
I think that chart has sailed, brother. Here it is. Here's the Hedron chart. I mean, you're holding major support here on something that was protected massively here on August 19th. And then there was a triple bottom on it here in the end of September. A nice fucking 80% spike, I want to say. 60% spike. A nice retracement. Another spike. You could even get another retracement. And then a final move that just goes to crazy high levels, knock off a zero right before the end of right when the auctions start. Or you could, work your way up there, and then after that, and people start burning Hedron, the price just screams after that. Some different scenarios to think about. Downside, I mean, if it was going to break down on a double top here, I mean, good luck. But, I mean, 38% down to support. Next level support after that is about 60%. And then, like, worst case would be 75% drop. But something tells me that you're going to have to summon the might of God to make that happen.
And it won't sound like one of the Greek god names. It's got that ring to it, but I think in a good way. Hedron god. Hey, there is a Hedron godwell, right?
There is.
Yeah.
I saw somebody on Twitter before with that name.
Yeah, he showed up here before too. He's like, he's tipped the hat a couple times here. So, I got a question. Hedron Fibonacci targets?
Oh, Hedron fibs? Shoot. I'm giving away all my secrets. Let's see here. I have posted on my twitter.com/AxisAlive on my Twitter page. I did post some fractals and some heat fib targets. But so I think I can give you the HEX pair. So Hedron versus HEX. You're sitting 160% off the 1.618, which is a key level that I'm looking for on the break of this high. We're not far off. We're like a few percent off of getting up and out of here. So like this move has started and just some people just haven't figured it out.
What's the what are you holding for the next 30 days? Hedron or PLSD?
Hedron, yeah. And I think PLSD could run pretty hard. I think you could get a 3x out of Pulse Doge. Possibly. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that the way the chart looks right now, once it gets above $10 as support, you could print a $10 candle on Pulse Dogecoin eventually. Like, I wonder if it'll come sooner or later. I don't know. It's done it before when it was at $1 to $5 where it printed dollar candles, which would have been 2x moves in a day. So, I mean, could it do it again? Yeah. They're motivated over there. So,
yeah. Just for the record, Hedron long term. I mean, they're building some stuff over PLSD, but Hedron fundamentals are just insane. So,
well, the guys. So your biggest HEX whales have the most Hedron multiplier bonuses if they were on it. So the guys that are the biggest believers in HEX are also the biggest holders of Hedron and the ones minting it. Because once those stakes are over and done, what up, Ryan? Once that shit's done and over with, that's done and over with. Those stakes are done. The 10x bonus multiplier is gone, and that new inflation can no longer come into the system, which creates a supply shortage. On top of, so your inflation curve is dropping over time, and your coins are getting burnt. So every time the new coins, and the minting bonuses are going away, so it's like spiking down. Like every time it's trying to make new highs in inflation, it's spiking down. Eventually, it's just going to like become so hard for it to go up, right? Because there's all the big bonus multipliers will be gone out of the system. So much of the coins will be burnt, recollecting 555 stakes and others. ICOSA, a lot of it will be staked up in getting ICOSA yield, and then the ICOSA premium will skyrocket, just like it has already been doing. Like, I don't know if I had the ICOSA chart up somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So from the beginning of ICOSA against HEX, like it's still up decently. It's still loading, but let's see where are we at in modern times here. I got to get my desktop back, man. 22%. So if you held ICOSA, you're up 20% against HEX just for holding ICOSA, or from staking Hadron and getting ICOSA. It's just from doing nothing, just from holding your shit and believing in the ecosystem. So that's bullish to me. I mean, that's just awesome.
I need that meme, holding your shit and believing in the ecosystem. it's the butterfly one, and he's got the hand, and he's like holding it, and then yes, I want that. Somebody make that meme, please.
So I'm sorry I couldn't keep my eyes on the chat because I have one laptop screen right now, but I'm working on getting all my stuff reset up in my new location. So
I got you, man. Your new secret bunker.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have been asking about Poly. Do you know much about Poly?
Poly. No, I don't know a lot about it. I think it's like a pooling. It's a pooling token so that you can acquire HSI stakes for a pool, and then the Poly token probably will have its own value, and that's what you'd receive in return. And then I think it becomes like a DAO where the DAO holds all the stakes. I think, but don't quote me on it. I need to get on the line with Alex from the Maxi team and just figure out what the heck's going on over there with that. Honestly, I got to get back up to date on some of this stuff because it's moving pretty quick right now.
What do you think that does to? I mean, if it's successful,
I mean, it'll pump the hex price because then those HSIs will be in a diamond account, controlled by many, not by one, and then it'll. It's just a pump of metal, I think. Pump of metal in so many ways. It redistributes coins into hands. Weak pleb hands early on a new coin is okay because the inflation can be absorbed. It's pump of metal for everything. It's basically offloading the sell pressure from the other assets onto that coin short term, and then eventually that'll accrue value because it's producing a yield.
I'm always trying to figure out what a price for Poly would be because it's kind of like, is it more stable-ish like ICOSA, or is it more like Hedron where it's very undervalued? Because how do you value the HSIs and the bidding opportunities? Like how would you even come up with a day one?
I need to know more about how the inflation works. Like, does the pool acquire? So does everyone puts in, let's say, X amount of dollars of coins, and then the pool acquires that many HSIs that it can?
I think so. You put in the Hedron, they take the Hedron, and they try to execute strategies to get the HSIs.
Okay.
And then they're redeemable for the Hedron. And yeah, I'm trying to. I think it's about as far as I know on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so then fundamentally that would be very much so tied to Hedron deflation rate, basically. So. Yeah, man, that's all exciting. I'm gonna get back more and figure out what the heck's going on with all the new projects because there's just always more, and I just feel like they just keep coming, and eventually I'm gonna run out of energy to keep up with all of them. There's so many of them. I like my Ethereum though. I like my Ethereum until PulseChain.
Yeah. What do you think about the news lately? What do you think about the FUD? What was that? The very poorly written, zero merit, zero victims, just total hit piece of a lawsuit of some sort by anonymous people.
Oh, what a joke! What a joke! They were claiming that that there's some dollars involved and there's a lending involved, and there's none of that involved. It's a code that prints coins that are made out of thin air.
It's just so much. Just reading through it and just listening to it, I was just like none of this even it's so wrong and so subjective. And they keep saying HEX investment scheme, and it's just I don't even think you could make a lawsuit that was so inaccurate and just did nobody review this and be like what judge signs off on this? Do they need a favor or something? It's just, I don't get it. How they even got through any court.
You gotta wonder. You really do.
Weird. Here's the thing on Poly. Poly will be a 15-year-old hold because you can't claim it before the last HSI bought by pool matures. It's like Maxi. Well, in that way, it sounds more like a stable instead of having its own like undervalued price chart like Hedron. I don't know. 15-year-old. Well, you're assuming all the stakes are 5555, which they probably will be. But
yeah, that'll trend toward that. Yeah, should.
Interesting point. It
seems like everything's trying to arb and pinpoint out the 5555 valuation. You know what I mean? Everything's trying to arb that at this point. It's just basically how can we extract max value out of the time value of the system, which is 15-year max lock. It's like everybody's trying to find different ways to extrapolate. How can we find that value faster? It's super exciting. Like the thought of like what they're trying to accomplish with all these derivatives.
Yeah, I can't imagine any other communities building like derivatives, building like just whole trustless staking pools doing this stuff.
I haven't seen anything like this in crypto yet.
I'm not saying I'm an expert on different communities in crypto, but it blows my mind. Sacrifice phases. I mean, like we were like pioneers in a lot of different places. It's amazing.
Even when you go back to the beginning of HEX, like, shoot, I mean, HEX was the closest thing to a free and fair launch product. And then you got the Pulse sacrifice, and you had, HEX popularized DEXs because Uniswap and HEX ran so hard on Uniswap, everybody bought. Like it was something that everybody bought and everybody sold on that huge run up after the Godwell candle. So, I mean, HEX was the front runner of DeFi. Like it was the beginning of DeFi. Chainlink, started like the way to monitor the blockchain, and then HEX made DeFi a thing and never got the real credit for it publicly, but it did it. And then everyone started yield farming, which was effectively different versions of, yield bearing systems, which was started from, on the proof of stake angle, it was started with HEX. So, it did so many things first, and yeah, go on and talk about that.
Fantastic. Rich, got a question. It seems like it'd be smarter move to hold your Hedron than to sell it for the upcoming auctions.
Yeah, I'm more bullish on the asset. But then again, you can't go wrong like burning them for some long-term stakes if you're trying to get more T-shares. Especially if they were started. Imagine you have HSIs with big bonuses, what those will be worth. I don't know if anybody's thought about that.
What was the question again?
Like if there were any HSIs, if there were any HSIs with big bonuses, you'd have to factor that into the valuation of the HSI, which you'd end up burning multipliers, tons more Hedron to buy that thing, because people will be wanting that 10x multiplier bonus on that HSI. So like that is the reason why I think that you'll have this initial wave on the 13th, is because people are trying to acquire those multiplier bonuses on HSIs that might have been sacrificed.
I bet that's something too with Poly that the executor has access to, is like actually being able to see. They probably have the tools already set up of like, okay, we're only going to target 10x HSI stakes, but I don't think everyone has those tools or even knows how to see them. So that's going to be interesting to see how many of the 10x's get got by individuals versus how much pressure and bidding up happens because you have the staking, or not staking pool, you have this bidding pool put together to bid on it. I thought about too, wouldn't the equilibrium or like the game theory play, wouldn't it be that no individuals participate in the auctions and everyone just use Poly, so they would get the HSIs at the cheapest, but then and that would be burned. Like I don't know, like it seems like there's like some equilibrium play there for but assuming everyone did that.
I don't know. After what I saw with the Zen project launch, like I'm pretty sure that there's stuff that I haven't thought about. That was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you don't really see all these things. I mean, even with HEX, there's stuff that happened that Richard never thought of. I forget, there was like this whole list he went on one day. It was like, yeah, I never thought people would do this with it or that with it.
Ending stakes prematurely to restake longer was one thing he said he never expected.
All right, man. I think we'll wrap up. Great stuff. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for taking time out of your secret bunker to like get on and give us some good alpha.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, I appreciate it, and hopefully, next time we get together, we'll do a collab with maybe 2 or 3 analysts, and we'll just have some drilled in.
Tell you, man, you gotta get Silver on.
Last week, you were trying to get me on here, and I in a pinch, and I wanted to, but I just so here I am tonight, and then we'll do one with Silver. Yeah, that'd be good. I'll see if I can come on.
I'll take either or both. That'd be awesome, man. Always good to see you. And everyone, I will be back Sunday with 100% uptime. You don't want to miss that one. Guess what we're talking about? Hedron. Talk about some more Hedron. Talk about auction stuff too. So join us back for that. And then Monday I got Crispy on to talk about hexfire.io. So we got some more good guests lined up on the RHMax show. Smash all the buttons. Follow this gentleman here on the Twitter, on the YouTube at AxisAlive. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
At AxisAlive, and then AxisAlive on all together on YouTube, I believe. Yes, that's your username. Yeah, and you got anything else? You got fans only? You got anything else going on?
I got no OnlyFans, but if you want to get some action, meet me on Twitter or something. Hit up my DMs. Shit.
Pretty people hit up Axis's DMs.
I can't be doing any of that. No, come on.
All right. Okay. Maybe not.
Right,
maybe
see
not.
you guys.
Industry. All right.